Hello, this is Craig Resnick coming to you from the 2025 ARC Advisory Group Orlando Forum. And we'll want to welcome my special guest today, Josef Waltl, who is the CEO of Software-Defined Automation. Welcome, Joseph.
Thank you, Craig, for having me.
Thank you so much for being here today. You know, when I think of your company, I know you do a lot to help companies address some of the workforce issues that and address some of those challenges of having, a lack of workers and trying to make the workers more productive. What are some of the solutions you do to help companies with their workforce challenges?
So we provide an industrial DevOps solution for PC engineering, all types of industrial engineering. And when we then look at the workforce, it's the automation engineers. And if you look at that day, it is overcrowded with things that could be done better, like handling a lot of different versions of industrial automation IDEs. Having a lot of miles in a plant or even in larger facilities by going to the automation equipment and updating it, making it backups, and also just organizing all the files. We call it the manufacturing code challenge. So what we do is we give the automation engineers, which help be more productive, the tools they deserve in 2025.
Oh, that's great. It's really important. And one of the reasons these tools are so important is, is anything that can be done to help avoid, the biggest nemesis for manufacturers, which is unscheduled downtime. Tell us a little bit about how some of your tools help your customers avoid unscheduled downtime.
So there's a couple of reasons for unscheduled downtime when it comes to industrial controllers that we've experienced from our customer base. One thing is very simple version mismatch. Like someone does a change, the change does not get recorded. Someone does another change and basically flashes the controller with the old version. That causes actual downtime. Very often our customers tell us it's not the bearings that wear out. It's not the mechanical equipment. It's software. It's a lack of software transparency. It's a lack of software management. Software-defined automation can generate a global repository of all manufacturing code, of all manufacturing documentation, of the electrical drawings. You have fine-grained user access rights management, and at any point in time of what was the latest version, what's actually deployed. We call this the baseline, the minimum layer. And let's be honest, we've seen USB pens in electrical cabinets hanging around and said, this is our latest version, hopefully. The second thing is, when you look at the interaction between manufacturers and their suppliers, there's machine builders, there's system integrators, and very often those people need to come in case of something breaks down. And what we help is we bring the engineering solutions natively to the browser, so you can let in a third parties with grace and instantly. It's just you give them access to the system. You say, okay, you are now helping me with that function block in that PLC program, and both people can look at the same application and solve it immediately. So that's the main things where we help on a daily basis without the higher level benefits like completely automated documentation where we, for example, use modern AI technology for it.
I would assume also that it would apply to, another great challenge that manufacturers have, which is obviously the cybersecurity. I'm sure your solutions, try to address some of their cybersecurity challenges as well.
And so with having a software abstraction of controllers from different vendors, that's also important. We support Siemens, Rockwell, Mitsubishi, Beckhoff, all types of codices, and growing numbers. We manage the source code, but we also manage the access control. And the access control means you get away from automation engineers having post-it notes on their programming device and with the password. And then because you don't know who has this post-it note, you cannot change the password. We are managing passwords completely in a cloud environment, completely encrypted at any point in time, and the users then get access to that. We also have a very secure cloud storage of the core IP of manufacturers, which is the PLC codes. Like car manufacturers do very detailed micro optimizations to reduce the run-through time of a car body, for example. That's the core IP of that manufacturing facility. We store it securely in the cloud. It's encrypted at all point in time, at motion and at rest. And it's within the tenant of a specific customer. So it's completely secure with all the benefits of resiliency and scalability of a modern cloud environment.
Wow, that's very, very impressive. You know, all you hear about, not only at this forum, but certainly in industry, is obviously the, artificial intelligence, machine learning. And one of those questions that we always get is, how are your company's solutions, how are you addressing artificial intelligence and machine learning, as far as how are you providing some of those capabilities to your customers?
So we tend to think differently. We're thinking, what's a problem for the customer that's actually real? And then how can we best solve it? And for some solution spaces, modern AI technologies are good solution spaces, or even allow the solutions to be there that have not been there before. A good example is very simple PLC code documentation. We have a customer in Germany that has PLC code with Italian comments
Hmm.
and documentation. And let's be honest, not everything is commented. If an automation engineer changes something because a gear needs to be replaced in the night shift, who really then takes 15 minutes more before going home to family to update the documentation? So not up-to-date documentation is a problem, and it's a real thing. So we have a feature line, we call it SDA Factory Agent, and we can go from a backup of PLCs of industrial controllers to a complete decomposition. So we can read every proprietary file from Siemens, Rockwell, Mitsubishi in plain text. And then from that plain text, or sometimes it's function blocks in ladder logic and other graphical languages, we auto-generate documentation. And that is a very complicated AI application because it needs to be complete and correct. And we measure our quality by an end function of these two based on customer feedback. And we measure it between 1 and 5 stars, and we consistently get 4 to 5 stars so far. What means that a 10 to 15-year experienced automation engineer could not have written a better documentation. We just do it in a couple of seconds.
And why that's so important today is, as you know so well, is workforce is such a challenge with all the customers, that they're putting more weight on their solution providers, such as yourself, to fill in some of the roles, some of the service roles. How are you helping your customers, as a provider from products and services, to help them kind of overcome the fact that they may not have the experienced workforce that they once did?
As I said, we want to take away the heavy lifting and shifting of automation engineers on a daily basis. So we really serve those customers. And this is sometimes little things like starting an IDE of a certain vendor in 20 seconds instead of 2 minutes. Over the time of a day, this is a lot of work. We can do backup, we can do documentation, and we can do it at scale, and we can automate it. That means you could say, make the backup of these 10 Rockwell PLCs, that 10 Siemens PLCs, that 10 Schneider PLCs every day at 8, and then generate a complete new documentation of all of the function block within those. And that's what we call a pipeline. It's an automation tool. So it again takes away the repetitive tasks of the automation engineers and puts them into a system that automates that. And this frees the automation engineers to have their mind free for other topics that are more important than just do repetitive tasks or keep the system and the system of record of manufacturing code up to date.
When your customers are purchasing your products, are they purchasing them as on-prem, licensed solutions, or are you beginning to shift towards, SaaS and subscription models? It's also a little bit about how your customers go about purchasing your solutions.
Software-defined automation has been built on the premises of building the best possible technical system to manage the manufacturing code challenge. This is a cloud-first system. It's extremely secure, and it's scalable to millions of PLCs. customer adoption of large companies like Henkel or SCW that are our customers proves that we can go through all the security checks within those large customers. But not only that, our business model is also completely scalable. It means you start with one PLC, you pay for one PLC under management. There's no upfront payment for our software. There's no license. There's no additional maintenance. There is no payment for you need to buy a server, you need to buy a Windows license. Everything you need to have is a small gateway, and we deploy the software gateway agent to that. Having said that, there is a valid point in industrial automation that you say, hey, I have a Mexican factory, I have a factory in some area where I'm not 100% sure if internet is always up at any point in time. We cater for that as well. So we have a capability to always store a subset of the code repository to a local facility. So in case something really happens with the internet connectivity, you always will have access to your control code.
That's very critical for operational resilience, which is key. Just one final question: how do you see, from talking to your customers, what do you see as kind of the headwinds they may be facing in 2025, and also subsequently how that may affect them, but also on the other side, the tailwinds they might face that may help their businesses in 2025?
So let's start with the tailwinds. Yeah, definitely. We're now in Orlando. Still, the American economy is very strong. And as you spoke with the HR challenges and talent challenges, we can help the manufacturers to grow. There's a lot of growth that needs to happen. America needs to massively increase the manufacturing capability. And that's something that really drives the discussions with our US customer bases. And also really, now it's a time to modernize, to get away from those proprietary assemblements of PLCs to a more unilateral way of managing it and integrating it to IT systems. Example is, we are able to take our user rights management and connect it to the corporate's repository. So there's no OT-IT mismatch of who has access to which system. We're just another IT system. So that's what we see in North America. Europe has all of those challenges, and in addition, a lot of cost pressure due to the current economic situation. So I wouldn't call it a headwind. It's just different challenges, and we have helped our global customer base, which is very often on both sides, to tackle those challenges.
Well, I think companies in a great position to really help people overcome some of those headwinds and provide them some very cost-effective and solutions that have a very positive ROIs.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and thank you for being here. This was Josef Waltl, who's a CEO of Software Defined Automation. This is Craig Resnick coming to you from the 2025 ARC Advisory Group Forum. Thank you so much. Have a great day.